What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more classical music, as well as a very sleepy and sweet Luca. And yeah, we're going to listen to a tune from a compilation from Deutsche Grammophon, a very famous classical label, and it's called Caravan, the Ultimate Silk Road album. As you might not be surprised to hear, it features a number of classical pieces with a Near Eastern, or in a few cases, more Far Eastern sound. But again, a number of them are basically from stories and or musical settings that are what we would now call Western Asia. So ultimately, we're going to listen to a piece by Alexander Borodin, Russian composer of the 19th century, and his opera Prince Igor, which I believe remained somewhat unfinished at the time of his death. I think he worked on it for like a decade or more. And maybe even the part we're going to listen to, which comes at the end of Act 2, I believe, and it's the Polovtsian Dances, which is spelled in most places Polovtsian, though I have seen it Polovetsion, but the Polovtsian Dances, this is the Polovtsian Dances with chorus, and again, I believe maybe even this part specifically was incomplete at the time of Borodin's death, but Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov, as well as one other composer, I want to say the surname starts with a G, but it's eluding me at the moment, they stepped in and completed what has become the standard or most famous version of this. I do believe there are some other composers and arrangers who have finished it in different ways. But when you hear Prince Igor and specifically the Polovtsian Dances performed, which I've heard them perform live, this is typically, what you're going to hear is the version completed by Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov and I think one other composer. In any case, it goes through a few different dances. The scene, from what I understand, I don't think I've ever seen Prince Igor, but I do read about these things, and again, if you haven't been around these classical reactions for a while, I mentioned a lot at the beginning of the classical playlist that I took a couple history of classical music courses when I was in college. As an elective, I am a historian, I was going for history degrees, but it was a really cool way to combine a couple different interests of mine. And yeah, ultimately, I do remember hearing this back then, and it's one of those pieces which I enjoy all the different dances, but my favorite, and I think the most famous, like if you know any part of this, I'm guessing, if you don't know the whole thing, if one part of this stands out to you or rings some distant bell in your mind, I'm guessing it will be the second dance. It's this really explosive, these big columns of sound, and it has great choral elaboration here, which not all versions of this have the chorus, but this does. But yeah, all the versions, or all the different dances are nice. Like the opening one, it has this dreamy, exotic sort of feel. The one after the big explosive columns of sound, which has this great timpani roll, I should mention. But the one after that has a lot of tension, it's fast, and it feels, like people are running away from something. So we go through some different sounds and emotions over the course of the dances overall. But I think my favorite, and perhaps, the most famous, is the second dance, which I don't know by name, but again, if you do recognize any of this, surely that will be the part. The composer, or the conductor and the orchestra, let's see if it says here. There's a bunch of different ones, so I may have to look this up specifically, but let's see if we can do that. Okay, so this piece, yes, it's the Gothenburg Symphony Orchestra and Chorus, and Neeme Järvi is the Neeme Järvi. I don't know how you pronounce that. I think he's a Finnish conductor. Definitely a name that I've heard before, but being an ignorant American as I am, sometimes pronunciation for certain names escapes me, so I do apologize there. But yes, this is the Gothenburg Symphony Orchestra and Chorus, and Neeme Järvi, perhaps, conducting. So here we go, Borodin, the Polovtsian Dances with chorus from the opera Prince Igor, though once again, I believe with contributions from Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov and another conductor, or another composer. note at the end. Feels like watching some ritual or performance with which you're not familiar. It comes from some place beyond normal Earth. The second dance, sorry. It's the third dance. This one still feels light and flowing, but there's a bit more unease in it, a bit more tension. First time I heard this, I was stunned. Feel so much positive or negative. It just feels grand and vast, powerful. And then the tension and unease will rise significantly with the next one. And I do like how they flow into each other. It's The ritual has turned dangerous. Like the forces of nature are being conjured in all their power and all the danger or risk that entails. But then back to the soothing, dreamy, exotic opening. Now we're combining some elements, right? We've got that galloping sort of percussion, but with the female exotic ritual sort of layer. Feels like the reprise is even pacier. The tempo is upped a little bit, maybe. Contra melodic stab. Imagine hearing this and realizing it's just one part of one act of a 4-act opera. I do like that little rhythmic triangle. Now it feels sort of light and sprightly, like racing to the conclusion. Makes sense to give people an intermission after this. Like, there's 2 more acts, but you gotta, like, digest that, folks. Good Lord. I mean, honestly. So yeah, big ups to Borodin, and congratulations to Rimsky-Korsakov and whatever the other composer's name is that I'm blanking on. Again, I think the surname starts with a G. But yeah, they did a great job to complete someone else's score, which surely, even if you're a good musician and a good composer, you begin working with a language that is not entirely your own. And so on some level, you have to try to integrate your thoughts with that language and finish it on some level in the way that maybe they would have, but perhaps with your own, understandings and skills as well. So yeah, again, big ups to both Borodin and the pair of composers who elaborated the remaining parts. And yeah, I've never seen the full Prince Igor, but listening to this again and, maybe thinking about the opera more than I have before, because again, I was thinking like, wow, what a great way to end an act, and, surely the second of 4 acts, surely there's going to be an intermission on some level between those two parts, because it's like right in the middle of what would surely be a long performance, a long 4-part opera. So that's like smart composition as well. But yeah, great job. Congratulations to the Gothenburg Symphony Orchestra and Chorus, as well as Neeme Järvi. Again, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but just brilliant. I really enjoy that. So, as I said, we'll be back for more of this Deutsche Grammophon compilation. Again, there's some Beethoven on here, his Turkish March, some Tchaikovsky, the Dance Arabe, what else? Rimsky-Korsakov's Song of India, and Nielsen, the Marketplace in Isapan. Bottom line, again, pronunciation on some of these words is a bit suspect on my part. I do apologize. But I do want to go through most of that compilation because it's one that I've enjoyed for years going back, but I hadn't listened to it in a while before, taking out some of my old classical CDs once I began doing these reactions. So, in any case, I've talked long enough. It's one of the longer videos, which classical reactions tend to be. Nevertheless, once again, big ups to Borodin and Rimsky-Korsakov in particular. Do let me know what you think, and Luca and I, the sleeping cat potato on my lap, we'll see you next time. Peace.